We're talking trade rumors on this edition of Titans Today. Before we get into it, will the Titans make a trade before the upcoming 2024 NFL trade deadline? Get those predictions in. 1 for yes, 0 for no. We're going to begin with DeAndre Hopkins trade rumors, as those have very much picked up some steam in the past couple of days for Tennessee. Titans off to a slow start, even with the win over the Miami Dolphins. Other teams battling wide receiver issues, injuries, bad play, etc. So it isn't a huge surprise to see some major NFL reporters out there linking Hopkins to other teams. First up, Ian Rapoport of NFL Network, specifically talking about the Chiefs as an option here. He would be an interesting name to watch. DeAndre Hopkins, still really good, coming off a good game in Week 3. If he continues to impress, and the Titans continue team-wise to go the wrong way, you do wonder if that would be something they would consider. Now, I will make note. Rap said that before Monday Night Football against the Dolphins. Does that drastically change your outlook? Maybe, maybe not. There's still time to decide, which is a big factor in this whole thing, by the way. It does make sense from the Chiefs side. You know, you can plug Travis Kelce, which they kind of already doing, in the Rashee Rice role of some underneath stuff. I still think they need one more, legitimately good receiver on the outside. So I do think Hopkins would make sense from the Chiefs' perspective. We'll talk about the Titans side here in a minute, but it's also worth mentioning the Chiefs are not the only team being linked, speculatively or not, to a potential DeAndre Hopkins trade. Mary Kay Cabot, one of the top Browns beat writers, had this to write. What about Hopkins, who was actually in chemistry with Watson from their 3 years together in Houston? Hopkins rumored to be on the trade block with the Titans at 1-3 and not viewed it as a contender. But the Browns are also 1-3, but they believe they can still right the ship with the Ravens at 2-2 and the Bengals at 1-3. This is not the first time that Hopkins has been linked to the Browns. He had been linked originally back when Tennessee ended up getting him in free agency. The Cardinals had cut him. It is not surprising to see these DeAndre Hopkins trade rumors emerging. The Titans are 1-3. If they do lose some more games, that puts them in the sellers category. There are some arguments about moving on from a 1 year left on his contract player. We'll come back to the pros and cons of moving him, but you guys probably have your opinions already, which I don't think is a bad thing, by the way, and I want to hear them. It is the pinned comment on today's show, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Would you trade away DeAndre Hopkins? Y for yes, N for no. I do want to emphasize this point. You don't have to, and frankly, nor should you, make a decision right now in a Hopkins trade. The NFL trade deadline is over a month away. Tuesday, November 5th is when that trade deadline comes. You don't have to make your decision right now. You can gather your information, see how things play out, and then figure things out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even longer, whatever. I am still in the I'll listen to calls stage, but unless we get blown away by an offer, we're not necessarily looking to make a move right now. Plus, the market could go up, by the way. I also have to consider this part. What draft pick are you going to get? There is more than just the evaluation of the player versus the long-term asset versus a couple more games of Hopkins. It's a little more complicated, specifically for Tennessee, as we'll get into. Now, Hopkins had 1 good game this year, 3 games not so good. The Titans' passing offense is pretty inconsistent. That might not be a receiver or even a play-calling thing necessarily. I think there is still value in Hopkins. He's a 1,000-yard receiver last year for Tennessee, been mostly on a 1,000-yard pace every year of his career when he's been healthy, at least. But the other part you're considering here is how do things impact your current team? And there is some negatives of we traded away a veteran, we're going to play more of the young guys, some mentality stuff there. You have options. You still have Calvin Lee, who I think you need to get going more than what you did the past 2 weeks. You have Tyler Boyd as an option. You can try more Treylon Burks. But remember, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep repeating it, the number one goal of this season is to figure out if Will Levis is the answer. If you get a 5th or whatever for DeAndre Hopkins, not having that 5th round pick might be worth it to eliminate any potential excuse. If Levis doesn't play great down the stretch and he has Hopkins and Ridley and Boyd, okay, I think we kind of know it's just not going to work out. If you trade away Hopkins and then Ridley gets hurt and there's no playmakers, you could be stuck in a I don't know what we have phase still. And that is where you don't want to be as an NFL team. You have to figure out what Will Levis is this year. If you think you can figure that out without Hopkins, a trade does start to make more sense. Also worth mentioning, the comp pick formula. You might be able to get a comp pick form too, which should be factored in what is a little bit more of a gray area conversation than as black and white as maybe some other fan bases want it to be as it relates to the Titans. Now, if you're going to a Titans game this year, make sure you wait to buy tickets because prices tend to drop the closer you get to your event. But also make sure you're using GameTime. Their new feature, GameTime Picks, makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. It filters out all the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It is curation designed to save you even more on football, baseball, basketball, not too far down the line, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The all-in pricing feature shows your total cost up front, so there are no surprise fees when it comes to checkout time. You can get a panoramic view from your seat, and the game time guarantee means you will always get the best deal. They will credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row for less. So go download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today because what time is it? Game Time. So FanSided, as they often do, have a really weird trade. Let's just show it because it's something. The Titans trade Mason Rudolph and DeAndre Hopkins to the Steelers for a 5th-round pick and Russell Wilson. Why? It's a great question. I don't really know why. I read the article. Wasn't really well explained. Kind of bordered on the we did the trade to make a trade type of idea. I have thoughts on this, and I will not be nice. And you don't have to be nice either in the comments section. Give me your one-word reaction to this, a 5th and Russell Wilson for a Rudolph and Hopkins trade idea that FanSided for some reason cooked up. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. I actually have 2 one-words. I'm going to cheat, and if you want to cheat, that's fine too. First word is stupid. That is a dumb trade that doesn't make any sense at all for Tennessee. My other one word is, that's embarrassing. You put your name on that? Really? That is what you thought was a good idea? You flipped backup QBs, Wilson and Rudolph, and a 5th for Hopkins? Why? Look, not all sports content is good. Even the best people have off days or whatever. But that is a terrible idea for Tennessee. How does that make sense? What are you doing? Why are you trading for Russell Wilson? You're flipping backup QBs? You're going to start Russell Wilson? No. What are we doing out here? Russ hasn't been good for 2 years. He's getting beat out by Justin Fields right now. Adding a veteran QB who I know is not a franchise guy does not benefit me at all. I'm also eating more money by trading away Mr. Rudolph. Stop it. Pittsburgh also picked Russ over Rudolph. Like, none of this makes sense. And I think it's frankly an embarrassing trade idea all together. Sometimes here at Titans Today, we will call out things we think are stupid and praise people we think are smart as well. For more free Titans YouTube videos, hit that sub button, youtube.com/Titans Today. We will mention the Davante Adams trade situation here. It's a pretty big national story. He has informed the Raiders he'd like to be traded. The Raiders allegedly open to moving him. They want a 2nd and more in return. I would be pretty damn shocked if the Titans even tried to get involved. And I don't think anyone, not even FanSided, expects a potential trade here as it relates to Adams in Tennessee. The updated odds that are from BetOnline, the Jets correctly are your betting favorite. By the way, quick aside, don't bet on KC. The Raiders will not trade him in division. There's no way that one's going to happen. The Titans have bottom 5 odds to acquire Davante Adams at plus 8,000. In this case, I think the odds makers are right. And to an extent, you always want your front office to be involved on every trade option. To always be working the phones, making calls, if only to figure out what the trade package is as you shop your own guys, which actually might apply a little bit here for Hopkins, and maybe there's some communication about what they're getting offers if that's a route you want to pursue on Hopkins. But this is not one Tennessee should be involved in. He doesn't fit their timeline. He's going to be out of a contract in reality after this year ends, so don't expect them to even try. to look in the direction of Adams. It just doesn't make sense for Tennessee really at all.